From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Man. Evansville, you are very, very special people, and thank you, Indiana. Thank you. Thank you. We had great success in Indiana, as you know. That was an incredible experience, and we really honor you. Very, very special people. Thank you very much. Thank you. And I know you well. You love our country. You're proud of our history. And you always respect our great American flag. This is a really incredible time for your country. This is a truly amazing period of time. We have the best economy in the history of our country. Factories are reopening. Jobs are pouring back into the United States. We are putting your great Indiana coal miners and steel workers back to work. We're reclaiming our nation's proud manufacturing heritage and putting tariffs on foreign producers who cheat our workers and cheat our companies. Not fair. Not fair. As President McKinley once said a long time ago, we believe in American work for American workers, American wages for American laborers, and American homes for American citizens. Just this week, we made another truly historic announcement. We are replacing NAFTA with a beautiful brand new U.S.-Mexico trade deal. And as we speak, Canada, and we love Canada, right? But they have to get rid of those barriers and they have to get rid of those big tariffs. Canada showed up at the White House. Where the hell did she come from? And now tomorrow, that's one person. And now tomorrow you're going to read headlines. Trump had protesters all over the place. Yeah, one person. One person. Major protest. But are they going to talk about the thousands and thousands of people inside of this arena and outside of the arena where we put screens? No. Because things are happening. Let me tell you just really quickly about something that did happen. So last week, you probably saw it. Because it gets ratings, they put it on television, right? If it didn't get ratings, they wouldn't be putting it on. But last week, you saw it, I was in the great state of West Virginia. We were in a fantastic arena, beautiful, smaller than this, but a very great place. We had crowds that were incredible. And the enthusiasm, I hate to tell you, the enthusiasm that you have tonight in West Virginia, it was exactly the same. Can't get any more, right? And the failing New York Times, which, by the way, if I wasn't here, they would be out of business. The Washington Post, the New York Times, CNN, so a writer for the New York Times that pretends she knows what she's talking about hasn't got a clue. Now, and I'm telling you, the enthusiasm was the same. The place was packed. She made the statement that President Trump was disappointed to see some empty chairs. Yeah, they were going to the bathroom, maybe. And listen, and he was so disappointed at the tone in the room. We left there saying, that was amazing. These are just dishonest, terrible people. I'm telling you that. Terrible people. Not all of them. Honestly, not all of them. I'd say 85%. So we made a great deal with Mexico. And as you know, Canada didn't want to do what we have to have done. And after the deal was made with Mexico, Canada came along and they're negotiating right now at the White House, at our territory. And it could happen. We'll see what happens. And if it doesn't happen, we'll put tariffs on the cars coming in from Canada, and that'll be even better. But I think it's going to happen, and we've really developed a very good relationship. Look, we love Canada, but they have to treat us fairly. They haven't treated us fairly, right? I'll give you an example with Canada. Dairy products. They put tariffs on our dairy products going into Canada, almost 300%. We can't have that. Can't have that. And a lot of other barriers where we can't sell. So we'll open it up, or we'll be, frankly, maybe even better. Either way, it's going to work beautifully, okay? That I promise you. Because I'll tell you what, this country is tired of being ripped off by other countries. Tired of it. And we're doing some great deals with other countries also. You've been reading about it. And they're getting done one by one. And if they don't get done, we come out almost better. So that's the way it is. But we're thrilled to be joined tonight by many of your state's great Republican leaders. And I have to say, a man who followed a very hard act, our great Vice President, Mike Pence. But a man who followed Mike, that's a hard act, because Mike did a great job as your governor, and he's doing a great job for us now in Washington. And you have a governor, Eric Holcomb, who is doing a fantastic job. Fantastic job. Thank you. Thank you very much, Eric. Thank you. Great job. And Mrs. Holcomb, thank you very much. It's a great team. Great team. People that have really helped me in Washington. You know, we did a lot of things, including cutting your taxes, the biggest tax decrease ever. Congressman Larry Bouchon and Congressman Todd Rokita. Thank you. Thank you, Larry and Todd. Thank you. Also, a very special Indiana chair, Kyle Hupfer. Kyle, thank you. Great job. Kyle, how are we doing in Indiana, Kyle? They're going to beat Joe Donnelly. Going to beat Joe Donnelly. You're going to beat Joe Donnelly. You have to, because we need the votes. We need the votes. You're not going to get, Joe's not going to vote for us on anything. He's maybe going to vote for a great judge right now. But before we talk about that, I want to bring a person up to the stage who's really done an incredible job. He went through a primary with a couple of real pros. And I have to say, they have been so fantastic. You did so well, so well. We appreciate it, man. You know what I'm talking about. You know. Incredible. Incredible. But he went through, he did great. People loved him. He's been a very, very successful businessman, which is really what our country needs. I mean, a lot of this is business and it's common sense. And I just saw a poll just a little while ago, a real poll. You know, they have fake polls. They do suppression polls. You know what a fake poll is? It's called a suppression. They make you think you can't win, so you go to see a movie. Don't go to see a movie. Remember me? They said, I don't know, it's going to be impossible for Donald Trump to get 270. You cannot. It's impossible. It's impossible. Remember the lines from NBC, which is probably worse than CNN? But the word is they're firing the head of NBC. What a great thing to do. How smart. That's what the word. Who knows? With these people, you never know. But by the way, take a look. Todd, everybody, Governor, look how many cameras you have back there. It's just like the Academy Awards. Look at it. They can't get enough. But when I start screaming fake news, you see those red lights go off for a little while. You know, excuse me, we have technical difficulties. Okay, then they go back on. Right? Look at that. You know, in the studio, you hear they go, listen, he's about ready to go. Look, ladies and gentlemen, we have technical difficulties. We'll be back in just about. Then it goes back. Okay, we're back. Here we go. Keep going. Oh, what they have to put up with. You know, it's not that easy for them either. It's tough to have a network where you're calling them fake news and they're supposed to be proud. That just shows when you get good ratings, you can say anything, right? That's what happens. Get good ratings. Finally, I just want to get Mike Braun up here because he has been special. He's a special man, and he is going to be a truly great senator. Mike, please.
Never a dull moment in this pursuit, is there? You know, I love what the president said, is when somebody says you can't do something, for some of us, it causes us to even work harder. When I watched this man clear the field back in 2016, when they said it can never be done, and there was not one person on that stage that could have beaten Hillary Clinton other than this man here. And the other thing you need to know is politicians too often say something and they never follow up on it. This man makes promises and keeps them. And he needs a true ally. Not somebody that says something when you're in Indiana and does something differently when you're in D.C. Joe Donnelly voted against tax reform. Yeah. As a congressman, he voted for Obamacare. And then when he could have had the deciding vote, he voted against repealing it. He voted for the Iranian deal, and thank goodness we undid that. It's a sad story. He promised to drain the swamp, and I want to be an ally. When I get there, you can count on it that I'm going there for the right reasons. I'm not going there for the pay or the perks or the pensions that they get like none of the rest of us do. I'm going there to make this man have an ally there that you can count on every time. So, get your friends, get your neighbors out. I'm going to need the help to take it across the finish line because Joe's gotta go. Joe's gotta go. Joe's gotta go. Joe's gotta go. Thank you all. See ya.
He'll be a great senator. A vote for Mike Braun is a vote to, did you ever hear this before? Make America great again. And you know our new slogan that we'll be switching to because we're way ahead of schedule is to make America great again, right? It's called Keep America Great, exclamation point. Keep America great. That's what's happening. We're so far ahead of schedule. People come up to me all the time and they go, thank you, Mr. President, just backstage, right now. People, thank you, Mr. President, for saving our country. Our country was in serious trouble. And when you hear them trying to take credit for what we, you, me, all of us together, what we've done, if we didn't come along, you would have had, instead of 4.2, you know, it was raised yesterday from 4.1. You would have been in negative numbers. The country was choking with regulations, choking with high taxes. You would have been in negative numbers, and that's what was happening. You would have seen some real mess. And what we've done all together, because this is one of the great revolutions, you can call it a revolution if you like, that's ever taken place in our country. And we want to keep it going. A vote for Mike's opponent, Sleepy Joe, is a vote for Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and who else? Maxine Waters. You know, I gave Mike a little while ago something that I saw, but he's already seen it. The Indianapolis Star did a story, and I guess it's a poll of some kind. Joe Donnelly rated least effective Democrat in Senate in a new study. It says, who is the least effective Democrat in the United States Senate? Senator Joe Donnelly, according to the Center for Effective Lawmaking, who said the Democrat from Indiana was the worst. According to the center, Donnelly introduced two bills in the 114th Congress for 2015-2016 that received some kind of action in committee, the fewest among his 44 Democratic colleagues, and neither of them advanced to the floor for a vote. Now, this wasn't an anomaly, it says. The center just said this. This wasn't just a one-time, one-year, unusual thing or anomaly. It ranked Donnelly 55 out of 57. Oh, I see, he did much better. Among Democrats in the 113th Congress. So I have to tell you that if that's what you want, representing Indiana, you can have it. You can have it. You can, sir, I mean, hey. Joe Donnelly voted no on tax cuts. He voted no on Obamacare. We had Obamacare done if he would have raised his hand. Repeal and replace. He voted no on repeal and replace of Obamacare. But we did get rid of the individual mandate, and we brought it down, and it's going. It's leaving fast. It's leaving fast. Joe Donnelly voted against enhanced vetting for refugees. Let them come in. Open up those borders. Open them up. He says, open up those borders. Let them in. He voted against stopping illegal immigrants from getting welfare. And Donnelly repeated voting for amnesty. He wants amnesty. Donnelly also voted for liberal Obama judges who want to take away your Second Amendment and lots of other things. We need to elect senators who will vote for judges who follow our laws and our Constitution as written. Like Supreme Court Justice Neil Gorsuch, who's doing a great job, and Judge Brett Kavanaugh, who we're trying to get through right now. In this election, you aren't just voting for a candidate, you're voting for which party controls Congress. Very, very big vote. It's very close. People say we have the majority. By how much? Like, by almost nothing. Somebody has a cold, we no longer have the majority. We need Republicans in Congress. Today's Democrat Party is held hostage by left-wing haters, angry mobs, deep state radicals, establishment cronies, and their fake news allies. Our biggest obstacle and their greatest ally actually is the media. You can believe it. We've got stories that are so big and the media doesn't pick them up. We have stories that if that was about a Republican or a conservative, it'd be front page of every newspaper. And we have them and they just don't want to write them. It's a dishonest group of people. I will tell you that. You can have the biggest story about Hillary Clinton. I mean, look at what she's getting away with, but let's see if she gets away with it. Let's see. All I can say this, our Justice Department and our FBI at the top of each, because inside they have incredible people, but our Justice Department and our FBI have to start doing their job and doing it right and doing it now. Because people are angry. People are angry. What's happening is a disgrace. And at some point, I wanted to stay out, but at some point, if it doesn't straighten out properly, I want them to do their job. I will get involved and I'll get in there if I have to. Disgraceful. And the whole world is watching, and the whole world gets it, and the whole world understands exactly what's going on. The Democrats, they call themselves the resistance. That's what they're good at. Resisting and obstructing. They are obstructionists. Every day they are resisting the will of the American people and trying to undermine the verdict of our democracy delivered so strongly in 2016, like never before delivered. The most remarkable thing about the modern Democrat Party is how truly undemocratic they really have become, right? The so-called resistance is mad because their ideas have been rejected by the American people. And we're getting rid of those bad ideas one by one so fast. And it is driving them crazy. They're the old and corrupt globalist ruling class that squandered trillions of dollars on foreign adventures. They don't want to build a wall here, although we've started, but it's not easy. But they'll build walls in other countries. They'll create borders in other lands so far away. But over here, let everybody pour in, and we don't worry about the crime. It's a disgrace. They've made the worst trade deals in the history of the world. And who enriched themselves while presiding over the destruction of American jobs, American companies, and American wealth. It was the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of the world. What we did to our companies and to our jobs, we should be ashamed of our leadership, but not this leadership, because we're bringing them back. When we pledge to work over corruption in Washington, these are the people we're talking about. So in this election, we can't let up. We're going to, and it's happening fast, we're going to drain the swamp. We've replaced failed Democrat lawmakers with America First Republicans, and it's happening. We want people like Mike Braun. Republicans stand for stopping illegal immigration, fixing bad, horrible, obsolete trade deals, unleashing American energy, cutting taxes, supporting our militaries and our great vets, our great, great vets. Republicans stand for protecting Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid and strengthening the safety net for truly needy Americans, not for illegal aliens and people that come into our country to take advantage of us. Democrats want to raise your taxes. We want to lower your taxes. By the way, that doesn't sound like a great campaign theme. We're going to raise your taxes. We're going to fire ICE. I don't think that works too well. They want to raise your taxes. We want to take away your regulations. They want to increase your regulations. They want to weaken our military. They don't want to give us, we're always fighting money. We want money for our military. They want money for things that you wouldn't believe. They want to shut down your coal mines. That's not happening. By the way, you're up like 60%. You're doing all right. I've had such an incredible experience with the miners, and just a little while ago, backstage, there were 9. Of the 9, now these were tough guys. These are seriously tough cookies. In fact, I looked at them and I said, I wouldn't want to fight these guys. But of the 9, 8 of them were crying. And I looked at the 9th, crying out of happiness because they're back. I looked at the 9th guy and said, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you crying? Oh, I don't cry, sir. I said, that's okay. That's okay. 8 out of 9 were crying with happiness. And they want to raid Medicare to pay for socialism. Somehow, I don't see Indiana being the next Venezuela. I just don't see it. Right? We don't see it. That's what would happen, too. At the center of this election is the issue of border security, so important. We've now started the wall in San Diego, and we're doing another 90. It's like pulling teeth to get the money from these Democrats. We got $1.6 billion. Then we just got another $1.6 billion. Now we're asking for a lot more. We can do that thing so quickly. But they really want, I mean, honestly, they want, even though in 2006, almost all of them voted in favor of essentially a wall, okay? Now they think it's politically expedient to anything Trump wants, please go against, please. because they are not liking my poll numbers even a little bit. And within the Republican Party, I have to say this because this is very cool. Within the Republican Party, the highest poll numbers, I think it's, well, they have 90, they have 92, and they have 93%. The highest poll numbers ever. Is that crazy? I actually asked them. I said, did they do polling when Honest Abe Lincoln was around? You know what? Nobody's been able to give me that answer, but I'm assuming they did, okay? So we can say we're beating Honest Abe. Democrats want to open borders, which really equals allowing into our country massive amounts of crime. Republicans want strong borders. We want no crime. We want great law enforcement. And by the way, we love our law enforcement. If you want to summarize the difference between Democrats and Republicans, just remember this. Democrats want to abolish ICE. Where did this come from? By the way, do you have any idea what ICE does? I don't think anybody in this room, unless they're really tough, and I know a couple of people right here probably tough enough. I don't think so, though, actually. I know them too well. Actually, I know their weaknesses, so I think they're not. But these are people that go into a nest of MS-13. They call it a nest. That's what it is. It's a nest. These are evil people in there. This is a group of gang members. I can't say animals anymore because Nancy Pelosi got very angry when I called them angry. I called them animals. She went crazy. I can't do it. I can't call them animals, even though they have guns, but they don't like using guns because it's not painful enough. They want to slice people up. Young girls walking home from school, 16 years old, and they sliced them up. They died. They died. Their parents are incredible people. I met their parents, devastated. And the reason was because it was more painful. And then I call them animals, and Nancy Pelosi gets upset because I'm talking about human beings. They don't get it. They don't get it. So we want to abolish MS-13. They want to abolish ICE. And I have to tell you about MS-13. You know, we have towns in Long Island. I grew up in that area generally. I know every one of those towns. They were always great. They were safe. You'd leave your door open at night. You never locked your door. You leave your windows open, no problem. Now they're infested with MS-13, but we're getting them the hell out so fast. Don't worry about it. They're getting. They're going. We're doing a great job. We're doing a great job. And we have really no laws to work with. We have really no laws to work with. The laws are horrible. The laws are the worst and dumbest in the history of the world. Again, between the trade deals world and our immigration, horrible laws in the world. But we're getting them out. But you know what? ICE, we call ICE. And they go into those towns, and they grab those guys by the neck, and they throw them into those paddy wagons. They couldn't care less. And you don't want to do it. And you don't want to do it. But we have some really bad people that were allowed into this country under President Obama and others, and we're getting them the hell out. And you know, these towns that I know so well, we get ICE out, and the people are standing at their windows cheering. They're like clapping for ICE. They're clapping because these are brave people. They're good people too, good heart. But they're tough. They're tough. They're strong and they're tough. And ICE is afraid of them. You know why? because they're much tougher than ICE. And that's what happens to work. I hate to say it. So they get out, and you know the sad thing? It's sad, actually. It's like the towns are being liberated, like it's a war, and you're getting, finally, the enemy out of our country. The towns are being liberated from this scum. Amazing. Amazing. So the Democrats want to abolish ICE, and the Republicans want to cherish ICE. And I can tell you that. And I think everybody in this room respects and really admires Border Patrol, ICE, all of our law enforcement, everybody. Not an easy job. Not an easy job. A vote for Democrats in November is a vote to erase our borders and leave innocent Americans at the mercy of hardened criminals. That's what will happen. We need strong law and order. A vote for Republicans is a vote to support the brave heroes of ICE, Border Patrol, law enforcement, and all of the other groups that work with us. Every day, ICE, which is being so badly treated. That's why I'll sometimes go more and more in favor of talking about ICE, because what the Democrats are doing to the morale of these brave people is incredible. It's incredible. And you know what? If they didn't have them, they'd be calling up begging, saying, where is that? We need ICE. We need somebody to help. This election is about safety, and this election is about jobs. And the beauty of the jobs, people that were stuck in one job didn't like it. They've now got 6 different alternatives. They go here, there, they get one that they like, and they're making more money. Wages are going up. Nobody thought this was going to happen. Excuse me, you ready? 3.8%. Isn't that nice? Nobody thought that was going to happen. Thanks to Republican leadership, our economy is booming like never before. It's never been like this. Economic growth last quarter hit a number that nobody thought possible. This number was 1, less than 1, and going down to negative territory. We've created nearly 4 million new jobs since the election and lifted almost 4 million Americans off food stamps. We've added almost 500,000 new manufacturing jobs since election. 500,000. And if I would have come here, and I did come to Indiana a lot, and you know who I brought with me? Who did I bring? The great Bobby Knight. What a coach. You know that story with Bobby, right? A year before I was going to run, Bobby Knight called. And they say, sir, do you know a Bobby Knight? I said, you mean the coach? This is before I ran. And I said, you're talking about the coach? My secretary, great person, said, yes, sir. I think he said he was a coach. I pick up. I said, hello. He goes, Trump, this is Bobby Knight, and you got to run for president. Our country needs you. And I said, that's Bobby Knight. That's Bobby Knight. Right? That's Bobby Knight. After the first word, I knew it was Bobby Knight. And he said, you got to run. I said, well, you know, Bobby, first of all, I respect you a lot, and I really love winners, and you are a winner. And the job you did, great guy. He's also a great guy, big heart. He doesn't want people to know that, but he's actually got a very big heart. He'd be devastated if I said that he has a big, but he does. He has a big heart. But I said, you know, Bobby, I haven't decided to run. But if I do, could you give me a number? I'll take it, and I'll call you. So an amazing thing happened. So I write down his number. It was a cell. I wrote it down, and I have a stack of papers on my desk in New York. I haven't been to that office because I don't care about any of that stuff anymore. I only care about doing what's good for us. I couldn't care less. True. They won't tell you that, but it's true. So I take this number, and I put it on my desk, and I put it in the middle of a stack of papers. I just, it's like sort of a file. Some of you people might have some. It's like a file of things you may need someday, but probably not. And then when you go through them about 3 years later, 95% of it you throw out, right? But I had two big stacks. You'll see pictures of me in the office. You'll see these massive stacks. I just have them. And now I say, I'm going to run. And we did great. We were on center stage of every single debate, right? Every single debate. Center stage means we were never in second place. And if we were, they would let you know about it tomorrow morning. We were never in second. I was center stage on however many debates. Anyway, I'm doing well. We won New York. We won this one. We won that one. We won New Hampshire. Wow, New Hampshire was so great. We won South Carolina. We won North Carolina. We won everything, right? And then they said, even though we were so far, in all fairness, I have to say this, we were really so far ahead that I think that even Indiana wasn't going to have too much of an effect. But I want to win Indiana. So a friend of mine, he's from Indiana, great guy. I said, how am I doing in Indiana? He says, great. I said, good. I said, what can I do to ensure it? Well, if you could get like Bobby Knight to endorse you, that would end Indiana. I said, it's funny that you mentioned that, but he called me a year ago wanting me to run. He said the country needs it. And I said, and I put his number right here. I was at my desk. I put his number right here. And true. I bet you I have 2,000 pages of stuff, more. And I said, I put it right here. And I lifted up the stack, like in the middle. I lifted it up. And there's a little card that says Bobby Knight with a number. It was the weirdest thing. That's... crazy. I said, here's his number. The guy actually looked at me and goes, that's amazing. And I dialed in front of him. I dialed the number. And Bobby Knight didn't even ask who was on the phone. I guess he sees New York and he sees maybe Trump Organization. He goes, I've been waiting for you to call. Right? And I'll tell you what. Bobby Knight, was anybody here the night I traveled in with Bobby Knight when right? I never saw anything like that in my life. We were in this massive arena. We walked in, and I introduced Bobby Knight, and I'm telling you, the people of Indiana, they went crazy. That thing never stopped. That was incredible. And Bobby Knight, and I called him today. I said, I thought about you today because I'm going to Indiana. And I don't need you to come from where you are. I just wanted to say hello to Bobby Knight because he was special and he worked hard on our campaign. And he was very happy to get that call. Bobby Knight, right? We love winners. We love winners. Winners are winners. Bobby, Jack Nicklaus. Tiger, how about Tiger, the comeback he's made, right? Tiger! Did you see the fake news tried to fake out Tiger? They didn't do too well. Tiger's sharp. Now, we love winners. We love winners. Our country's becoming a winner, and our country is respected again. You see that. We've created not millions, not billions, but trillions of dollars of wealth in just a short time since our election. Trillions. And we're the talk of the world. I'll tell you, every foreign leader who comes to see me, almost, they walk in and they sort of, Mr. President, congratulations on the incredible success you're having with your economy. Congratulations. Almost everyone. And something I'm very proud of, African American unemployment recently achieved the lowest rate ever recorded in the history of our country. And we're fighting every day for African Americans, for more jobs, for higher wages, for safer communities, for great schools, and we want school choice. We gotta have. We're fighting hard. It's gonna make a big difference. But African Americans, the lowest unemployment in history. Hispanic Americans and Asian Americans, the unemployment have recently reached their lowest rates in the history of our country. And I'd remember, and you remember, when I used to go, and I'd go to a big arena like this. Bigger. This is a pretty big one, I must say. Oh, by the way, if they write tomorrow, the enthusiasm in the room was wanting. You know, they're like, wanting. See, you have to understand, I have a better education than they do from a much better school, but the elite, they're the elite. They're the elite. I went to better schools, I went to better everything. And by the way, you ready for this? And I'm president and they're not. But it's us. It's us. It's a movement. It's a movement like this country, and probably the world, but like this country has never seen. That's a big statement. But I make that statement, I don't get corrected, and they would correct me in 2 seconds. I don't get. This is a movement like this country has never seen before. I'll give you an example. If crooked Hillary Clinton had won, and she came to Indiana to have a rally for the opponent, who is rated the worst in the Senate, of Mike Braun, if you had 500 people, seriously, if you had, they won't tell you this, but we have an election coming up, we don't have a presidential election coming up, you don't get big crowds. If crooked Hillary came here, if she had 300 to 500 people, first of all, she wouldn't be in this building, she'd be in a hotel conference room. It would be a conference room. Right? It would be a conference room. And I'm just saying something incredible is happening with our country to have this. Something incredible. Youth unemployment has just reached its lowest rate in nearly 50 years. That's a biggie. Unemployment, this is so important. Unemployment for Americans without high school diplomas has reached the lowest rate ever recorded. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that beautiful? And prisoners, all right? Prisoners were having a tremendously tough time from the beginning because employers didn't want to hire them. And now the greatest thing we have is an incredible economy where employers need people. And for the first time ever, really, and we have a lot of great programs to help, for the first time ever, employers are hiring prisoners. They're getting a second and in some cases a third chance. And I have a friend who hired prisoners. I said, whoa, that's great. And he said, you wouldn't believe how great they are. They're better than my other people. Now, he's got a couple of cases where he's not so happy, and that's the end of that. And that's fine. But he said, these are incredible people. And I guarantee you, Donald, I'll have them in here for 25, 30 years. These are incredible people. They're getting a second chance. In a couple of cases, he told me, it was a third chance. But it's unfair. They get out of prison. They made a mistake. They get out of prison. and nobody hires them, and they end up going back. They can't live, they can't eat, they can't anything. Now they get that second chance. Can I tell you what? We're working hard on that in my administration, and that's one of the things we're really happy about. Really happy. It's incredible to watch. And they're doing a great job. All right, women, this is not good. So, African American, historic. Asian American, Hispanic American, all historic, right? Sorry, women. I let you down again. Women's unemployment rate recently reached only the lowest rate in 65 years. I let you down. I'm sorry. What can I do? But you know, I predict 65 years for women. Most of the rest are historic. The women, I promise you, I think, within 3 or 4 weeks, you'll also be at historic levels, I think. 65. We'll say 65 years is not good enough. A big one that just came out, consumer confidence in our country is at an 18-year high. Isn't that beautiful? Big thing. And a brand new poll just shows that 85% of blue-collar workers, I love blue-collar workers, I actually like them better than white-collar workers, but probably, I won't say it too loud, I love our blue-collar workers, and so do our white-collar workers. But our blue-collar workers believe their lives are headed in the right direction, and the poll numbers are massive. We've increased exports of clean, beautiful coal, one of our great resources that they wanted to close up, by, listen to this, by 60% in just this little short period of time. 6-0. And thanks to our very strong trade policies, where we don't allow other nations to rip us off and take advantage of us any longer. And if they do, we put tariffs on their products coming in. Sorry, folks. Steel Dynamics announced a $75 million investment in Columbia City and a $400 million investment in Terre Haute. And U.S. Steel announced a $750 million investment in Gary, Indiana. U.S. Steel. And U.S. Steel is opening up at least 7 plants, and they're going to be spending billions of dollars building new steel. I'll tell you what, steel, we were dead. It was over. Now we're going to be using our minds. We're opening up. We're like, it's the hottest thing that's happening. Our steel industry, because we're not allowing dumping. And if somebody wants to dump, like if China is going to dump or other countries are going to dump steel to hurt our companies and our workers, they're paying 25% tariffs on the stuff that they dump. Now they won't dump so much. We're building a new steel industry. And it's an amazing thing to watch, because America is winning again, and America is being respected again. I'm proud to say that I was asked to help because they weren't getting any help. It wasn't going to happen with the previous administration. And we're bringing back the Summer Olympics in 2028, and we're bringing the World Cup in 2026 back to our nation. Those are just the little things. By the way, the Olympics, the World Cup, I mean, the big stuff, you know what that is. We passed the biggest package of tax cuts and reforms in American history. Indiana families are saving $5 billion on their taxes this year alone. $5 billion. And I tell the people, a typical American family of four earning $75,000 will take home $2,000 at least extra this year, and many will take home really much more than that. It's a lot. And one that people love because they said it would be impossible to do. Our tax bill saves small businesses and family farms, ranches, and all of the other things associated with if you die, you pay a big tax and your children lose it. We have gotten rid of the estate tax, also known as the death tax. Very important for this area, we are canceling President Obama's illegal anti-coal, so-called Clean Power Plan. You know, there's an example. It's such a beautiful name, Clean Power, right? They want to have windmills all over the place, right? When the wind doesn't blow, what do? We got problems. When there's thousands of birds laying at the base of the windmill, what do? Isn't that amazing? Environmentalists, we like windmills. Oh, really? What about the thousands of birds they're killing? Try going to the bottom of a windmill someday. It's not a pretty picture. But really, when the wind doesn't blow, you got problems. If your house is staring at a windmill, not good. When you hear that noise going round and round and round, and you're living with it, and then you go crazy after a couple of years, not good. And the environmentalists say, oh, isn't it wonderful? We've ended the war on clean coal. We've also repealed the individual mandate. It's gone. Last month, the FDA approved more affordable generic drugs than at any time ever in the history of our country. And thanks to our effort, many drug companies are freezing or reversing planned price increases. You remember 2 weeks ago, Pfizer, and I take my hat off to them. I like them. They increased their prices substantially of drugs, and I got angry about it. I think it's probably the first time I realized what great power we have, right? I got angry. Novartis, same thing. They increased their prices. I'm decreasing the prices. I got really angry about it. And they announced the following day that they're no longer going to increase the prices of their drugs. And those prices are going to come down. Because we've put mechanisms in work, lots of different. I won't bore you with the complications. It's actually, we had middlemen that were so rich, they were making a fortune on drugs, prescription drugs. We're getting rid of all of that. Drug prices are coming down like they've never seen. Increases are stopping, like with Pfizer and Novartis. And we're stopping hospitals from overcharging low-income seniors for these same prescription drugs. We've passed Veterans' Choice. Our veterans are the greatest. You know, when I got involved, I sort of said, that's a bad situation going over with the vets. They're really being treated badly. These are really our greatest people as far as I'm concerned. And the vets would wait online to see a doctor 6 days, 9 days, 21 days, 34 days. Some of them would have a minor condition. By the time they saw the doctor, they were terminally ill. And I said, we're not going to let that happen. And I came up with an idea that I thought was brilliant. I said, you know what? We have all these doctors, some of them really good, talented doctors, surrounding and in the neighborhoods closer than where the vets are trying to get taken care of. We're going to let the vets go and see those doctors, and we're going to pay their bill, right? And I said, This is so brilliant. And then I presented it to Congress, and the congressman, yes, sir, we've been trying to pass this for 45 years. So, because it's common sense when you think. The problem is they couldn't get it passed. We got it passed. It's called Veterans' Choice. The veterans have a choice. They can go here or they go out to see a doctor. We pay the bill. We also passed a landmark, and this was just as tough, believe it or not, VA accountability law, where people that work at the VA are now held accountable. So now if a government worker abuses one of our great veterans, we turn to them and we very toughly say, sorry, you're fired. True. True. Very tough things to get passed. I guess I'm good at getting things passed, but it was great. We had great help by the Republicans in Congress. We had virtually no help by the Democrats. Very importantly, my administration is also standing up for the free speech rights of all Americans, free speech rights. Look at social media. It's a thing called free speech rights. You look at Google, Facebook, Twitter, and other social media giants, and I've made it clear that we as a country cannot tolerate political censorship, blacklisting, and rigged search results. And you know it can go the other way also. We will not let large corporations silence conservative voices. And it can go the other way too someday. It can play little tricks with them. We're not going to let them control what we can and cannot see, read, and learn from. We can't do that. America is a free country, and we are going to stay always a free country. We're defending American values, and we're also defending our great American interests all over the world. We've secured a record $700 billion for our military this year, and $716 billion, another record next year. We're rebuilding our military bigger and better and stronger than ever before. And at my direction, the Pentagon is working to create a sixth branch of the United States Armed Forces. It's called Space Force. So important. So important. I withdrew the United States from the horrible Iran nuclear deal. And if you look at what's happening to Iran, they are not too happy. You know, when I came into office, Iran was like this big power. And there was just a question of when are they going to take over the whole Middle East. They're going into Iraq, they're going into Syria, they're in Yemen. They were looking at the Mediterranean far away. They were going to take it all over. And I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to terminate this stupid deal made by the previous administration. And I can tell you one thing. Iran is not looking at the Mediterranean any longer. And hopefully that'll all work out between us and Iran. But they have to live by a certain set of rules. That was a terrible, terrible deal. Remember, they were given $150 billion, and then they were given $1.8 billion. What does that look like in cash? $1.8 billion. Hard to believe. You remember that. I also recognized the capital of Israel and opened the American embassy in Jerusalem. Because instead of apologizing for America, we are standing tall for America, the country that we love. We are standing up for the heroes who protect America. We are proudly standing up for our national anthem. But if Democrats get back into power, they will try to reverse all of the incredible gains that we've made, including very substantially increasing your taxes. If you want more jobs, more safety, and more opportunity, then you need to get your friends, get your family, get your coworkers, and get out and vote Republican and vote over here for a great gentleman named Mike Braun. You got to vote for Mike Braun, local citizens. You love your state. You love your country. You're loyal. You helped build this country. Together, we're taking back our country, returning power to where it belongs. We're returning power to the American people. That's what we're doing. From Bloomington to Madison and from South Bend to right here in beautiful Evansville. This great state was built by patriots and pioneers, mechanics and ministers and farmers and factory workers. With American hands and American grit, your ancestors built a home for themselves and for their beautiful families. They were tough, and they were strong, and they were smart. They were proud Americans, and together they turned Indiana into a powerhouse of American people and American ingenuity. What they've done in this great place. They didn't have a lot of money. They didn't have a lot of luxury, but they loved their families, they loved their country, and they loved their God. We stand on the shoulders of generations of American patriots who knew how to work, knew how to fight. Oh, do you know how to fight, fight, fight? And you knew how to win. Just like them, we're going to keep on fighting. We're going to keep on winning. We are going to win for our nation, our children, our families, for our freedom. We will never give up. We will never give in. We will never back down. And we will fight on to victory. We will only have victory because we are Americans and our hearts bleed red, white, and blue. We're going to win so much that you're going to be begging me, please, please, Mr. President, the people of Indiana cannot continue to win like this. We're not used to this. This is terrible. And you're going to ask your senator, Mike Braun, or your great governor, or maybe both of them together, please, please go see the president. We can't stand winning anymore. And they're going to come see me in the Oval Office. And they're going to say, Mr. President, the people of Indiana have been winning too much under your leadership. Honestly, sir, they can't stand it anymore. And I'm going to look back at them, and I'm going to say, I don't give a damn what they want. We're going to keep on winning, right? We're going to keep on winning. We're one people. We're one family. We're one glorious nation under God, and together we will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you very much, Indiana. Thank you. Mike Braun, thank you.
I saw her today at the reception.